overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins at all loss. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah, we overcoming adversity, doing it at all costs, making wins at all loss. Yeah, the world is all lost, yeah. Ain't no turning back, we headed straight for the stars, yeah. Oh yeah.
Podcast. It's all about having a transformational growth mindset and being resilient. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I'm your host, Michael Allison. Today we have a man who is the co-founder of the 1% Club. He's a TEDx speaker. He's the inventor of the first jet car, hydro car. But get this man has been shot 8 times and bankrupt twice. But this guy has came through adversity, through all these situations. Let's welcome to the show, Coach DeMont.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you.
Man, thank you for being here, bro. I truly admire your story of resilience and getting to where you're at now in life, man. Ever since I met you at TEDx, I was just astounded by your story, man. I was like, I got to get this guy on my podcast and talk to this guy. So if you would, man, tell us a little bit about like how you got to the level of success where you're at now today, bro. And to just tell us a little bit about your journey, man.
Well, I think how I got here is I'll honor God by how I got here. It's obvious He had a plan for me that was much bigger than my plan, and I think about it all the time. As a kid, I never thought that I would even make it to C21, like because of my environment and because I was depressed and because I was always in trouble and because I was angry and because I had daddy issues and because I had mama issues, and I just never thought that I would make it to see where I am now, So fast forward, I never thought that there was a call on my life. Like I never thought I had a purpose until I actually found my purpose. That's when I really like got in alignment with why I was here. And then now I'm excited about my purpose because now I'm in alignment with my purpose. My background is in real estate. I started flipping houses after I got in trouble. I did some time in prison because for a drug charge. And when I was 19, 20 years old. And then when I got out, I was able to start flipping houses. But I was telling somebody about this yesterday. I said, people say, oh, I want to be where you are. That's what they tell me all the time. I want to be where you are. But when I started, when I got out of prison, I was knocking on doors. And at that time, we didn't have the internet. So I was knocking on doors. I was passing out flyers and I was asking people, hey, can I paint your house? Hey, can I paint your house? I did it every single day. Hey, can I paint your house? If I knocked on 50 doors a day, within a month, I've knocked on hundreds of doors. By that time, maybe I might close 7 or 8. But I built a multi-million-dollar business. I ended up getting contracts for apartments, contracts for a Walmart shopping center, a contract for the new airport that they built. I'm from Indianapolis. So the background is that I have always been resilient. My mother says, I've never met a person that always bounces back every single time. I've been shot 8 times. I've been on my deathbed. I've been bankrupt. I've been suicidal. I've been ready to give up. I've been fatherless. I buried loved ones, and I'm still here. No matter what, I'm still here. And I think all of those things were a setup for this moment. It was a setup for me to be a leader in our community.
Coach DeMont, that's a incredible story, bro. You just unloaded a whole lot that I got to unpack that now, bro. So man, all right, cool. Let's start here. So you're from Indiana, and you was into the real estate once you came out of jail. If you could tell me a little bit about about that situation and what did it teach you, so our listeners could understand what that process was like for yourself.
So when I got out, I didn't have resources. So what I did was my mentors and my uncles, they're the Bowles brothers. They were doing a substantial amount of real estate during that time. We're talking about the early 2000s. So early 2000s, a person could get approved for 10, 15 houses at a time. So we really sold to investors. So I asked them would they mentor me, and they did. And because I didn't have the money for my first deal, They said, hey, here's a deal. If you come up with the money for your rehab, we'll we'll front the money for the house. So that was my first flip. And from then on, I just kept going. I used the blueprint that they gave me, and up until today, I flipped over 100 houses.
Wow. That's incredible, man. During that time in the market, man, you was able to surpass all of the things, all the myth and all those things that people would be talking about in regards to like the real estate industry at that particular time. I want you to touch on the importance of mentors, since you mentioned you was being mentored by the Bose brothers.
So I've been blessed throughout my adult life to have some incredible mentors. The Bose brothers are who introduced me to the real estate. Their family has opened their doors and home to me countless times when I was down on my luck, and I will always be indebted to that family. I met Gina Bose, who she was my how I met the Bose brothers is Gina Bose was my guidance counselor in high school. So and one day it was some things going on at home with my uncle, and one day I called her and she came to pick me up in the middle of the night, took me to her house and introduced me to her family, and I slept on their couch. I don't know if that's legal to do nowadays, but she did it with me, and she picked me up for school every single day, and I wouldn't have my high school diploma if it wasn't for her. Fast forward, she introduced me to her brothers, which helped me to the Bose brothers, is who I will say I was able to make my first million with the blueprint that they gave me. Uh, Real estate, buying and selling, understanding real estate, understanding what a HUD is, understanding how to deal with contractors. I learned that from the Bose brothers. Fast forward, I meet my mentor, Steve Nelson, who is an engineer, but he's also a very shrewd, profound businessman. He was at my TED talk when I met you, and he's my millionaire mentor, and he's taught me a lot of tools to keep me. Because remember, I made my first million in real estate at 24, but I lost it at 27. So it was obviously something in me to get it, but it was something in me not to keep it. So nobody told me how to keep it. I just knew how to get it. So I think that a lot of us strive to get money, but we don't really have a structure to keep it. How do we keep the wealth? How do we
Right.
build wealth for generations? Instead of I went to Vegas. All-Star game was in Vegas. I took all my friends. We stayed at the Venetian Hotel. We rode first class. We did all of those things, but nobody told me how to invest it because I thought I was gonna keep making money through real estate. Within the market crash, 06,
Mhm.
07. So market crash, I went bankrupt. I lost everything because I was living from closing to closing. And then my millionaire mentor, he took me under his wing, and he's really taught me a lot. Steve Nelson has taught me a lot. And then I moved to LA, and then I met my billionaire mentor. I've been blessed beyond measure. That's why I've dedicated myself to helping mentor people and coach people. That's why I'm Coach DeMont. Because how could I have this many people that have impacted my life to help me to become a millionaire, to help me to flip over 100 houses, to help me to bounce back from prison, to help. I have 3 felonies. I've never had a job. I have a lot of a great work ethic because of the people that I have seen that I want to emulate. So your mentor should be 10, 20 years ahead of you.
Absolutely.
My mentors are 10, 20 years ahead of me. So if I want to be a billionaire, I got to listen to the advice of my billionaire mentor. And he said, hey, you need to spend less time traveling and going out. You need to spend more time studying and investing. So I listen. I've been blessed enough to be able to be around and sit at tables with great people. I've met kings and queens of countries, so I'm blessed. But I want to be able to bless other people with the things that I've been blessed in. That's how I took so much time to learn about a family trust, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for sharing that. I know the importance of mentors, man. I have a few myself. I wish some of them was in the billionaire status. So that I know that you're one of my coaches too, man. From working with you, and I appreciate the knowledge that you've been giving me. Um, I want to touch on something before we jump into the trust part of this conversation. I think it's important for some of our listeners that may have been through some of the things that you've been through as a child, as a kid, growing up. So you could share some of your insights and what was that mindset shift for you as well. So like you said that you had felonies and you had daddy issues and things like that. If you could unpack that for us a little bit and share that experience, so the person that's listening on the other side of this on this conversation could could know like all the things you've been through, but like doggone it, you got through it.
Well, my mom tried to give me therapy. I stayed in trouble. I was angry again. I didn't meet my dad until I was 15 years old. I was in the mall, and he was with I knew my grandparents, and I knew I have other siblings on my dad's side, and I knew them, but I had never met my dad because he lived in Atlanta. I thought they said, I assume. So one day I was in the mall and I seen him with my grandparents, and it was kind of like what I had always dreamed of, because I just felt like my dad didn't love me. I felt like I felt like there was a disconnection of who I was, and I didn't know who I was. I was searching for my identity. I was searching for who I was, and I just felt like I wasn't loved. And because I wasn't loved, every day I would wake up and I would just say, "Hey, I don't want to live. I wish you." I used to tell God, "Hey, why do you let me wake up? Because I don't want to live." And a lot of that was because I didn't have my identity. So when I saw my father, who looked like me, which I talked about in my TED talk, when I saw my father, which was the first time ever publicly I've talked about my father, and actually when I got on that stage to do TED talk, I was going to talk about learning to unlearn. I was not going to ever talk about my father. It hit me time I hit the stage, and
Wow.
and that's when I went to talk about my father. But met my father, and later on, still there was no relationship after that. So he came to my high school graduation, but still I never got a I'm sorry, never got a I love you, never got anything. So fast forward a few years later, I turned 20, and my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So he moved back to Indianapolis. I took care of my father. Like, I went every single day to the hospice to see my father. I took him in the wheelchair, walked him around. I bathed my father. I changed my father's diapers. I fed my father. All of the things that my father never did for me, I did, and I don't regret any moment, because it has helped me to be the person that I am today. But I was laying at the foot of the bed when my father took his last breath in the hospice. Stage 4 cancer. He passed at 40 years old.
Wow.
And when I heard him take his last breath, it was the hardest thing I ever experienced, because I always imagined that I would have a father that taught me how to play basketball, or how to ride a bike, or taught me business, or we just went to dinner, or something like that. And I didn't. So at this time, I'm an adult, but that allowed me to identify with why I was so hurt, and why I acted so arrogant, and why my disposition was so out of alignment, and why my attitude was so bad, and why I was so disrespectful to my mother. It allowed me to understand that hurt people hurt people.
Right.
And I was hurt, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And my mother tried to give me therapy. I never would go, or I wouldn't talk in groups or anything like that. But after I lost my father, and then I met my mentor, which I told you, my Steve Nelson and the Bose brothers. It allowed me to kind of like understand that these men are not gonna hurt me like my father. And maybe my father only hurt me because he was hurt. So I had to forgive my father. Even though I had to take care of him, I had to forgive my father, because in order for me to move forward, forgiveness is for us, it's not for the other person. So I had to forgive my father so that I could move forward and open myself, my heart, my mind, my emotions up to other men or women that want to help me, or that want to mentor me. And I'm not saying, oh, they gonna hurt me like my father, so I'm not gonna listen to them. Or, oh, they gonna hurt me like my father. I wouldn't have never had a billionaire mentor. Because when I met him, in my mind, I was conditioned to say, he's gonna hurt me like my father. What does this man want from me? It's too good to be true. He got all this money. Why does he want to help me? And he said, I saw something in you. But we 10, 12 years later, and he's helped me. I wouldn't have the business I have now as if it wasn't for him teaching me the knowledge that he's taught me, like the elites teach their family. So I think that if in this segment, as we talk about hurting people, I would say that mental health is very important. And I tell
Absolutely.
people all the time, you need a coach for every area of your life. You need a coach for your mental health. You need a mental health coach. You need a fitness coach. You need a wealth coach. You need a lot. You need a coach for every area of your life so that you can be the best version of yourself. I can't say don't go to therapy. Like I can't say that no more. But I used to be like, oh, I go to church, I'm fine. Oh, I pray, I'm fine. Oh, I talk to my mother, I'm fine. No, I need to be able to vent. I need to be able to vent to a professional, and that helped me deal with the daddy hurt that I had, which now allows me to take inventory of myself. And there was a limit on my financial stability because of the emotions that I had. There was a limit. So I'll say some people are poor because you refuse to let go of certain things that's happening in our community. We say, oh well, if it's done at home, it stays at home, or we sweep it under the rug, or we don't want to talk about it. But we need to talk about it because that is what heals us. And until I was able to be healed, I was angry, and when I was hopeless, and I had no power. I could make money, but I couldn't keep it. I existed, but I wasn't happy with existing. So I'll say to anybody that looks like me, or that feels like me, or that has had abandonment issues like me, get help. Get help, because it will make you better. And I know we don't want people to be in our business, but sometimes we need people to be in our business because they're going to help us to perfect ourselves. And I want, when I die, like Les Brown says, when I die, I want to die empty. I don't want to die with nothing left in me. I don't want any fear or anything to keep me from reaching the potential that God sent me here to do. So I can talk about that all day.
I know, man. Wow, bro. Thank you for those lessons. Thank you for those gems. I think the importance of having a dad in your life is extremely important as you grow into being a man, and for you to chose to like have a heart of forgiveness for your dad and be there for him and support him. That takes a lot of courage, a lot of bravery, bro. So, man, thank you for doing that, bro. Because I think you set like a clear example when you share your story and let people know that you can forgive people and you can move forward in life. I want to hop into this part of the conversation. So, you became bankrupt when the market crashed, and you got into another form of business through your billionaire mentor. I was reading about you, and I understand that you're the co-founder of the 1% Club. If you would tell me what that is, what it do, so our listeners could understand about it.
Well, after bankruptcy, I started learning laws and credit. So I started doing credit. I think I started doing credit before anybody I know. Anybody I know other than Lexington Law, I was doing credit in 2000. So that's over 23 years ago.
Wow.
And I've helped tens of thousands of people. But I started studying laws, and people thought I was crazy. They was like, "Are you starting a credit repair business?" I was like, "Yeah," because credit is this. My mentor told me, he said, "If you want to make an impact, you have to be the solution to a problem." And in my community, I saw that the problem was people didn't have money, people didn't have credit, people didn't own nothing. So I wanted to be a resource, and I felt like it's a bank. It's 5,000 banks. Like, so nobody should ever be broke if they have good credit. They can go to the bank and get the money to invest. Because remember, I made my first million at 24, so I saw money at an early age. So I knew that it was possible. Like, I knew that becoming wealthy or having money to invest and create streams of income was possible. So I learned credit, and I built a credit business up, and did it for many years, and then ended up meeting two of my friends. We were friends for years before we ended up merging and partnering. but they have the largest credit repair business here in Texas and also Louisiana and all over. So they had tens of thousands of people that they've helped. So we ended up merging together. My company was called the Tycoon Agency. Their company was called SED Credit. We merged together, Tedrick and Tyree, to create what is now the 1% Club. So what we were able to do was take our knowledge and credit and create a product that doesn't exist in the marketplace, which is called debt deletion. You will not find it anywhere else. You will not find it on YouTube. You will not find. I learned it from my billionaire mentor, and then we were able to bring over a lot of the things that we have failed in our businesses. So the things that we have failed in were maybe managing people or hiring the wrong people or systems or some of the marketing. Like, so we were able to move all of the things that we had learned in our previous business, and we were able to move it over to the 1% Club. So we were able to that's why we've been so successful with the 1% Club, and you are a member of the 1% Club. So I know that you kind of understand the process, but that deletion without the trust doesn't work. So the trust is the nucleus of our company, and it should be the nucleus of our family. And I just talked to one of my my millionaire friends on the phone 5 minutes before I just jumped on with you, and she said, "I've never heard of poor people having a trust." Well, I told her, I said, anybody can have a trust. And I think that's the perception that many of our families have, is that you have to be rich to have a trust, but you don't. And moving debt over to a trust and moving assets over to a trust, we can't even talk about generational wealth without a structure. So how do you build a structure? After you get the money? Seriously, Mike, do you wait till after you get the money to build a structure? If that's the case, then why Michael Jackson didn't have a proper structure?
It doesn't make sense.
He died and didn't have a trust. Why? Because he didn't know when he was going to die. So why did Aretha Franklin die and didn't have a trust? Why did Prince die and didn't have a trust? They had money and still didn't have a structure. So I think that if I was to bet all my money on something, I would bet my money on, let me build a solid structure first, and then let me start building wealth, and then let me start investing, and then let me put what I build into my trust so that I can have the most powerful structure that exists. Otherwise, every generation is going to have to start all over.
Yeah, I think it's clear based off what people see, like in the market or in the views of public opinion. So if you take the look at the likes of your Chadwick Bosemans, your Nipsey Hussles, your Tiger Woods,
Take off.
You name it, take off. You understand what I'm saying? So like you can see the difference of how some of these are impacted. You can look at Donald Trump, how these trusts impact them. Like Donald Trump been sued many times. People get nothing from it. You know what I mean? So I think what you're saying is exactly true. I want to take a little step back real quick. So for some of our business listeners, as you guys decided to merge your two companies, could you share what that process was like for you guys as you guys went through some hurdles, some learning lessons for some of our business people? If you could share some of the intricate parts of like merging a company.
Well, I had really mentally went as far as I could go by myself.
Okay.
And I think that, and I've always been in control. I've never had to get votes from anybody. I've always been able to make decisions on my own. Again, I've had my own business since I was 20 years old, and I'm 43. So, but I studied a lot of companies that had evolved to levels where I wanted to be, and I understood. You see, a lot of companies, they go and they buy other acquisitions, they merge with other companies, and I didn't know, I didn't ever think that I could be partners with anybody, because it takes a special person, number one, to understand me, and number two, it takes a special person when you're trusting people to do business with, because I have seen so many businesses dissolve because of partners. You've seen so many groups dissolve because of partners.
Absolutely.
So there was a fear in me for a long time. And then towards the end of last year, I got to a point where in my prayer and meditation time, God has showed me some things that I knew that I needed to do. And I didn't know why I moved to Houston. Houston's not a place I ever really wanted to live. I like Houston, but I like Miami. I like LA. And I was living in Miami. I was living in Miami at the time. So I came to Houston. Tedrick and Tyree, we were already friends, right? We had never talked about partnering. We had never talked about anything other than friendship and business. But one thing that stood out to me was they came to my birthday party. I'm gonna tell you the thing that was one of the reasons why I knew that I was destined to be partners with them, because they showed up for me. So they came to my birthday party, right? And they didn't have to, but they did, and they stayed the whole time. And they're my friends, but we had never talked about doing business. So fast forward, I get to Houston. I'm subletting one of their units, and we sit down and go to dinner one day, and we just started talking about maybe it would make sense for us to bring our resources together. And it was a relief to me, because I was tired of being by myself, but I only wanted to work with somebody that I trusted, because I didn't want to work to have to go backwards and build everything over all again. So they had a lot to bring to the table. I had a lot to bring to the table, and it just made sense, and we did it. And I know people that are in my community, and they say, I'm never getting into a partnership. Well, it may be a cap on you.
Right.
What if there's a cap on you? And I felt like I felt like for a few years there had been a cap. There were things that they brought to the table that I don't understand. I don't understand marketing, Mike. I've never done marketing. Everything I've done was through referrals and word of mouth.
Right.
And I made millions of dollars. But if I had marketing, maybe I would have made hundreds of millions of dollars. I didn't understand that. I've never had the structure of an office. They did. I have worked out of my house for 20 some years. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, but how much business can you do really working out of your house? Can you run a Fortune 500 company out of your house without a team and a structure? I mean, maybe nowadays, maybe through virtual assistants and stuff, maybe so. But I never had mastered it. So there were things that I'm great in, but there were things that they were even greater at. And I knew in order for me to get and be number one in the industry, I knew that I had to learn how to work with people. I had to learn marketing. And that's one thing that merging with Tedrick and Tyree has taught me.
Thank you, man. If you can touch on a little bit on this business piece, and we'll jump into another topic here, the importance of having some systems and processes in place for business.
I think that's very important. And as again, because I ran my own thing for so long, I understand now as we build 1% Club that I really didn't have. I had the work ethic, but I didn't have the system. And the system, which I've learned, I'm reading a book, right? I'm reading the book, and then also I learned from my mentor recently through a conversation. He said the system should be able to work with or without you. And you're supposed to build a system so that you don't have to actually be hands-on. You can actually be the visionary. That's what you're called to be in a company. A CEO is the visionary. And the CEO puts the people in place to run the systems. Well, I've always ran the system myself, or didn't really have a system, just really pretty much got it done. You see what I'm saying? So systems are very important. Automation in this day and time is very, very important. We should be in business. We should be making money in our sleep. We shouldn't have to wake up and it take manpower for us to make money. Like, what happens if somebody wants to sign up for the Adversity Academy at 3 a.m. in the morning in your sleep?
Right.
There should be a system, automated system in place to welcome them. And so if I study the top companies, and I study the top people in my industry. And the top people in my industry, the only reason they are the top people in my industry, because I don't feel like they know any more than us. Me and the two of my partners, like, you can't, those people that are top in the industry can't run circles around us. But what makes them different? They have a system. Right. They have a system. And that's what we've taken the time to start doing, is to start working on building a solid system so that we can be number one in our industry.
Thank you for that, man. I wanted to ask that question because I know that your business has a great system in place where the customer service is phenomenal. So I wanted you to really touch on that. The customer journey and customer experience, I would say, is exceptionally phenomenal. I wanted to also touch on something for our audiences. Can you tell us the importance of personal credit and business credit?
I think there's an importance in both of them.
Okay.
I think that that most people don't even realize what they have or what they could have if they had great credit. There are people that have great credit and still don't have any streams of income. They don't leverage credit because we're taught that debt is bad. So I think that when you have and understand the value of personal credit and business credit, and then you intertwine that with understanding good debt and bad debt, you will never be poor another day in your life, and no generation after you will be poor if you understand how to leverage good debt. The only way that you can get good debt is with credit. The only way that you can get credit is by being able to meet the criteria of the banks, which we teach at the 1% Club. And debt is not bad, but there is a thing called good debt and bad debt, and I think we kind of put it all in one window. Whereas I put them in two. There's good debt and then there's bad debt. I'm gonna get in a lot of bad debt. I want an apartment complex. I want a hotel chain. I want land. I want commercial property. So I'm gonna have to get into good debt in order to get those things, right? So that I don't tie up my cash. In our community, we do a thing called my grandfather used to call it cash and carry, meaning if you can't pay cash for it, you don't need it. That's what I was taught. I was taught in the 80s and the 90s. If you can't pay cash for it, DeMont, you don't need it. But then I meet a billionaire and he tells me you need as much credit as you possibly can. You need to put your cash somewhere to where it's working for you. You don't need to use your cash on investments. You don't need to use your cash on properties. You don't need to use your cash on business. You need to leverage credit. So business credit is very important. We have people in our program that have built millions of dollars in business credit. We have helped people get hundreds of thousands of dollars in personal credit and leverage it and start businesses. So credit is very important. But a lot of people are scared, Mike, of credit. And if you're scared of credit, that means you're scared of yourself. You don't trust yourself because you don't have discipline. So when you get disciplined, you understand, hey, I'm not going to use this credit card unless I have the money to pay for it. I'm not gonna go use this American Express unless I have the money in the bank to pay it right off. I'm not gonna go use this $100,000 line of business credit on a vacation or on a car or on Louis Vuitton or on Gucci unless I have some type of stream to pay it off. Right? I'm gonna use it for something that's income producing. So mindset is very important when getting credit, because if not, you're going to end up in debt. You're going to end up bankrupt. You're going to end up with a bad credit score. But if your mindset going into it, and that's why we need coaches and mentors, because we don't know. They don't teach us this information in school, Mike.
They don't, man.
We're taught to be workers and slaves for money.
When it comes to a mindset, can you touch on the importance of developing great habits? How the importance of just being mentally aware, talk about being resilient, and also just being disciplined.
Well, I think that oftentimes people say, well, will you mentor me? And I asked them, I said, are you willing to unlearn everything that you've been taught? Because that's what my mentor asked me, which requires discipline. So it's, most times we're praying for more money, but we should pray for more discipline. Because if I have discipline, I could work at McDonald's and be a millionaire.
That's right.
If I have discipline, because it's not about how much money I make, it's about how much money I keep. It's about how much money I invest. It's about how I leverage my credit. It's about how I utilize my resources. It's about how many streams of income I have. Those are the things that build wealth, but it doesn't. So most people think, oh, it's because I'm not making that much money. No, it's because you're not keeping that much. It's because you're not investing that much money. It's because you surround yourself by poor, low frequency people. So Dan Pena said, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So if I'm gonna start with the people around me. If they're low vibration, low frequency people, I may need to clean the house, right?
Right.
And then I need to start with myself. I'm poor because of me. I'm not where I want to be because of me. I got to quit blaming other people. And because that's a lot of that's my because of discipline. So if a person's trying to teach themselves discipline, you got to first start with your daily routine. Let's start there. So we can't keep talking about, oh, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to learn. No, start. If you do the same thing over and over and over and over every single day, you're teaching yourself a daily discipline. So I read 15 pages a day every morning.
I do too.
Yeah, the average person doesn't read one book in a whole year.
Right.
I can't say I'm gonna read a whole book in a week, right? So I'm gonna say every day I'm gonna read 15 pages. I drink, my goal is to drink 1 gallon of water every single day, right? So over time, if I drink a gallon of water 365 days, I'm drunken 365 gallons of water. You got yours too. All right. So the daily disciplines of sometimes I get so caught up and I'm so busy and I forget my family or the people that I love. So my daily discipline is every day 2 people that I love or 2 people in my family, I'm going to send them a text saying, hey, I value you. Hey, I love you. Hey, thank you for being a part of my life, or thank you for showing up for me, or I'm going to do that because I don't want to forget about the people that love me or the people that I love because I'm so busy trying to make money and so busy trying to build millionaires. I don't want to do that. So that's a part of my daily routine. So over time, if I do that 365 days in a year, I've done over 600 touch points. That's what they call it, touch points. Yeah. So that's something that high achievers do. At least my high achiever friends. We teach ourselves discipline, right? We teach ourselves how to unlearn. We teach ourselves daily habits because you can get caught up on social media and you spent 3 hours scrolling on social media and commenting on other people's stuff, and you still don't have your thing done.
That's right.
When I first met you, I told you, I said, hey, I'm gonna hold myself accountable because you just came out with your book. I've been saying I was gonna write a book forever, and all I had to do was really just write 5 pages a day, and I would have been done with my book. But I procrastinated because I felt like I need to be in a certain place, or I need to have this done before I do my book, or I need help. I need a ghostwriter, or I always found an excuse, and I'm a coach. But that's one thing that I have not completed is my book. And I've had opportunities to go on platforms, Steve Harvey, other platforms, and they said, hey, where's your book? And I said, oh, I'm working on it. So I missed those windows of opportunity because I wasn't ready.
Right.
So I'm gonna say discipline is the main thing that you need when you're starting the journey and saying, hey, I want, because there'll be nothing you won't be able to be stopped.
I think discipline is a muscle that you have to like work on and create. Just like you go to the gym and try to like build up all these muscles. Discipline is a muscle that you build that eventually turns into a skill, and that you're just like, you can pull it out and use it whenever you want. I always think about like the inaction is also an action of you not doing what you said you was going to do.
Absolutely.
Hey man, so
that's why if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. If I say I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna show up. If I say I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be there. If I say I got you, I got you. If I say I'm gonna be there at a certain time, I try to value people's time. So those are attributes of high achievers.
Can you talk to me?
Again, as we talk about the 1% Club, those are attributes of the 1% Club.
Absolutely. Can you talk to me about the importance as a coach? Can you talk to me about the importance having visions and having a goal and having a purpose?
So I think a vision is very important. I'm a visionary, so I can see things before they happen, right? So if I walk into a house, I can see that house in the end. When I walked into this office, I saw this office as it is now. Like I was able to see that vision.
Mhm.
With 1% Club, I see 1% Club changing the world. I see it changing hundreds of thousands of families. I see that right now. I see it in my vision. So you have to be able to see yourself somewhere. If you don't see yourself somewhere, nobody else is gonna see you nowhere.
Right.
So you have to have a clear vision. And I tell people that I coach all the time. I say you have to have a clear vision. And if you don't have a clear vision, then maybe you need to get some distractions out of your life, right? So you should be able to, a great company, they're able to break down that company quarterly.
That's right.
So in every 3 months, you should have a goal and a vision for your life. A goal without a date is a dream. So if I go from vision to dream, from vision to goal, I need to add a date onto that. So I want to lose 10 pounds by January 5th of 2024. I want to finish my book by August the 15th, 2023. I need to put a date on there because then I'm able to hold myself accountable when I don't achieve that date. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep saying, hey, I want to write a book. Hey, I want to open a family trust. Hey, I want to have a better credit. And next year, I still ain't going to have nothing done. So you have to, when we start talking about goals and dreams and visions, I think dreaming is important, but I think sometimes we get caught with just stopping at dreaming. Because I dream that I have a yacht one day. But if I don't do the actionable steps to get a yacht, I'll never have a yacht. It'll just be a dream.
Absolutely.
I dream to have an apartment complex one day. And I'm gonna have it. But if I don't have good credit, if I don't start making sure my financials are together, if I don't save have the down payment, if I don't have assets to show that I can get this multi-million-dollar project, then I'm just talking.
That's right.
I just got on the board talking about I'm dreaming. So I have to do actionable steps, even if they're small actionable steps.
One step forward, man. One step forward. Can you talk about, as a business owner, some of the things that have been some setbacks in your business, either one of your business that you do have, and the lessons that you learned from those setbacks and how it helped you with like life lessons as your business owner today?
I'll say my tops. Finances have never been a setback for me. I'm not saying because I have money, or because there have been times when I did not have money. There were times I didn't have the resources. I have faith. So I could believe it's going to happen and it's going to come out of the blue.
Mhm.
Like God is going to send the resource from somewhere. That's just how I met my billionaire mentor. He gave me the $50,000 for Diddy. I've never been broke again. Right. So if you follow me, you know that story. But so that's never been my issue. My issue has been that I feel like that I am, I'm a bridge, and I feel like that that because I'm a bridge, then I help people get from one place in life to another place. I have not been gifted with the spirit of discernment, so the people that cross my bridge, I just let anybody cross my bridge, right? So because I let anybody cross my bridge, I've allowed people into my inner space and inner life and my business and my inner business that should have been allowed. Because I feel like I could save everybody. I feel like I could help everybody. I feel like I could motivate everybody. I feel like everybody has my best interest at heart, has my back. So people come into my circle being my friend or my brother or my sister, and then they end up being around me and absorbing the relationships around me, absorbing the resources around me, and then they decide in their mind that they want to be me.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they need me? Because now they can be me. They could be the millionaire. They could be the landowner. They could be all these different things. So in business, what I've learned is, and I've learned this from my business partners, and I've learned this from my mentors, is that everybody in business, everybody doesn't have to be close to you, and really nobody should be close to you. If you look at the top Fortune 500 companies, you can't touch the CEO. You can't go to dinner with the CEO.
No.
You can't go to the CEO's house. You can't go to the CEO's office. Like you have to go through a proper chain of command. Like there's a chain of command for that. And the CEO ain't going out on yachts with his employees or his broke friends, right? He's meeting his rich friends to go on yachts. So I think that's one.
Those conversations
big
are different.
And they protect their intellectual property.
Correct.
Right? They don't give everybody access to everything. And that's one thing that I've done. That's why people were able to take my stuff and try to go duplicate it. Because I trust them and because I call myself delegating, but really I'm not delegating. I'm just mismanaging.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been one big lesson that I've learned, which I think we should all learn from our lessons. I'm not going to say I won't do it again, but I won't do it the way that I did the last time. I'll say that. If you may give me once, but you won't give me twice the same way. So now we're learning how to secure our systems and how to if you go to Fortune 500 companies, you rarely go meet a person that knows every single job. The person they hired, they know that job, or they know that area or that department, but to know every system and everything and behind the scenes and all of that, I don't think that that's something that should be shared. So I'm gonna say that to the people that watch you, is that be careful who you allow into your inner circle. And as my business partner Tyree says, once you got to know who people are, and when you know who people are, it doesn't surprise you. So it doesn't surprise you who they are. If they're not taking care of their own business, why do you think they're going to help take your business to another level?
Right.
If they don't have great credit, how you think they're going to get out here and coach people and teach people how to have good credit? So those are things that we've got to take into consideration. What are people's motives? Because I feel like, and I lived in LA for 20 years, and my family calls LA superficial, and some of it is. But if I feel like we're all opportunists. We know we're in a situation because of what we can get, right?
Right.
Even in a relationship, we're in it because of what we can get back. So we're all opportunists. So we have to just be clear on what we want out, my mother's teaching me, we got to just ask people, what do they want? So that we know what to expect from people and don't expect any more than what they're willing to give.
Right.
My mother's a therapist. Coincidentally, that whole story we just talked about, but my mother's a therapist. She has a master's. And she told me the other day, she said, we teach people how to treat us.
Yep.
So if you allow people into your life and you allow them to treat you a certain kind of way, you're accepting that, and they're going to keep doing it. And that's also in business. If you allow a person to be late every day, and then when you need them on time, then you try to reprimand them, you taught them that it's okay to be late. You taught them it's okay to not be in dress code. You taught them that it's okay to steal. You taught them that because you allowed them to do it and get away with it.
A mentor of mine a while back, he was always telling me, your time is one of the most valuable things that you do have.
Assets you have.
You know what I'm saying? So he was like, you got to learn when to say no and learn when to say yes. And he says sometimes people find it hard to say no. And it's something that we need to learn how to add into our vocabulary and know that it's okay to say no, as you learn how to value your time, because a lot of people out here are time stealers.
Mm-hmm. What I do, Mike, is I in the past I've mixed my emotions, and see, business is not about emotions.
Correct.
I mix my emotions, and I think about the times when I needed help, and when I needed somebody to believe in me, or when I needed somebody to invest in me, or when I needed somebody to show up for me, or when I wanted somebody to show me how to make money, or when I needed somebody to loan me money. So I think about me, and my pastor told me that's my problem, is because I replace myself with everybody, and that's why I end up on the short end of the stick most times. So I've had to learn everybody is not you, DeMont.
Hey man,
that's the biggest lesson.
It is. The other day I was having a conversation with someone, and they're another business owner, and we're talking about getting testimonials and getting reviews for their business, as that's one of the key things people look for. We talked about it for your Google reviews, your Amazon reviews, you name it. And he had a negative review, and he had his own opinion about it as it really like bothered him. So I wanted to ask you, as a business owner, when it comes to like your business and things that you're running, how do you handle if you get criticism, or how do you handle if someone says something about you as a business owner? How does that impact you professionally or personally as a business owner?
I think if you're human, it's going to hurt,
Hmm.
because we all want to be perfectionists, especially in business. I think that it can also hurt the credibility of your business
Right.
as well. With me, a lot of the constructive criticism is not constructive criticism. Some of it is just people hating.
Hmm.
Sometimes you just have people hating, and sometimes it's people that you've known or that have been previous customers or clients or whatever. And then, to me, what outweighs the few negative remarks that people can make are the hundreds of positive things that people have said. So you have to outweigh that. If you look at the reviews on any company, on Amazon, or even Chick-fil-A, we talked about the other day. Chick-fil-A, I've never had a bad experience at Chick-fil-A, Apple, or Starbucks, but I do have some friends that have. So I'm sure there are some bad reviews, but the good reviews outweigh the bad reviews. So in my mind, when I think of a place to go to, Chick-fil-A is going to be probably the top, because I've never had bad experience there. And if I have one out of the hundreds of times I've been to Chick-fil-A, it's not going to really hurt me that bad. Apple, I've never had a bad review. Starbucks, I've never had a bad experience there. A lot of times, as a business owner, what it's taught me, and I was just telling my business partners, is that when you look at those companies, the reason why there's the experience is so no matter what city you go in, it's because of the training. They put lots and lots of money and time into training, right? So that motivated me today. So I put together a test for all of our staff, and I said, hey, I'm doing a pop quiz. I need y'all to come down here and take this test, because I want to see, do they know these things that we stand for and teach and all that. That's training. And if they don't, then we go take the time to start making sure that we teach them more those things, right?
Right.
So we got to take the lead as a company. We can't blame other people.
I totally 100% agree, man. And I think for me as a business owner myself, like if I get something that's negative, I have to take accountability and responsibility and address it. I'm not one to shy away from these types of things, as I'm trying to have a good business. I know you can't please everybody, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is with that. As a business owner for your company, how do you handle or take an approach to risk inside of your business? Because I know sometimes you take risks that are some tough decision making.
Well, how I got here was taking risks. So I don't function in fear. I never have. So I can jump and not have a parachute. Like, I can jump and just say, I'm gonna trust God. I'm gonna jump, and I could put everything I have into something if I believe in it. I've done that on a few different projects. Some I did that on the commercial project in Indianapolis, and I failed tremendously on it because I didn't do my due diligence on the property, and I put every dime I had into it because I believed in it. Same thing with other business ventures that I've went into. So I'm an all-in person, but I think that another way back to the business partner thing. I have, so me and Tedrick are all in people, but we have a balance, which is Tyree.
Mhm.
So Tyree is more of a thinker. He functions on faith too,
Mhm.
but he thinks through the details. You see, I don't think through the details, because if I want to do it, I'm just gonna do it. All in, and if it don't work, I figure it out later. But I think that you have to have a balance, and if you're a one man pony, you need to have somebody that you go to that's able to make you think through the details, but also that supports you jumping. You see what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
see.
So I think there should be a balance, because if I hadn't to take the risk that I've taken, I wouldn't even be sitting here in Houston. I'll be still in Miami and LA.
Mhm.
And there would be no 1% club, and not with me, because I would be somewhere in LA, Miami. I wouldn't be with them. So, but me taking a risk and not really knowing and not really understanding the process, not really so that put me here, which then opened the door for 1% Club. You see, so most people would have been like, oh, well, I'm not moving to Houston unless I got this, or unless I'm making this, or unless I got this, or unless I got that, and it don't make sense, and I got to move this, and so I didn't have to do that. I just came. I bought a box truck in LA, put all my stuff on the box truck in LA, and moved it to Houston on faith. I did not know why I was coming here. It was I just knew I needed to be here. You see, does that make sense? It doesn't make sense, but again, that's how I move. I move on faith. So, but there you need to have a balance. You need to have some people be like, okay, so what if this? Like my billionaire mentor, he's like, yeah, you're doing the deal, but you can't always think about the good. You got to think about when you do a contract, you got to think about worst case scenarios. See, me, I always think about best case scenario.
Man, I love it. I love that you have one of the most positive, resilient mindset of people that I've spoken to. I want to ask you this because I think it's really important. Based off how you've answered some of the question, how important is it for you to have a support system when you try to like manage your business and your personal life?
I think it's very important when we go back to mental health, because if not, there are some things that will take you out. There are some things that will take you out in business, and there are some things that will take you out personally. And that's why a lot of people have nervous breakdowns. That's why a lot of people commit suicide. And that's why a lot of people are not successful, is because they don't know how to deal with the stress. But having a support system allows you to be able to deal with the stress, right? So now I'm able to vent. I'm able to say, hey, today is the day that because I'm really naturally an introvert. I do not like. It doesn't sound like it, but yes, I'm an introvert. I could go in my house and I could spend months at a time and never come out and never talk to nobody. Yes, I can. I do not like talking. I am a shy person. I know you go laugh, but I am. I am a shy person. I am. I had to push myself to do this. When I was younger, I would tremble. Like I would go, they would give me the mic in church. They used to have this thing called testimony service, and they would give me the mic in church, and I would just tremble. Like how I had to literally teach myself how to speak like this. And I used to go, how I did it was I started going on Facebook Live. And I would go on Facebook Live and I would just talk about a subject that I was familiar with. And it got me more comfortable with speaking. But I am an introvert and I am a person that is naturally shy. If there is a stage, I normally end up with the mic now, but it takes a lot out of me to push myself to do it. And I know it sounds like I'm lying, but I am not. And it's a fear that goes through me, but I push myself through it because I don't live in fear. So if it's like we just for my birthday in February, we just jumped out of a plane, right? We did skydiving in Vegas. There was I wanted to do it because I don't want to live in fear. So now I feel like my mind, there's a level of my mind that in my creativeness, and we talked about vision and things like that. The vision that I have in my mind now is nothing that I feel like it's nothing I can't do now. Like I feel like, and I'm not just saying this, Mike. I feel like if it wasn't because of just the way that it works, I feel like I could walk on. I feel that. Maybe I can't, but I have enough faith to believe that I can. I believe it. You have to believe it. And I know people might say, oh, that's crazy, but I believe it. I believe it. I believe that I could. Now, maybe I can't, but I still believe that I can. You see what I'm saying?
I got
you. So I'm not going to allow anybody to tell me what I can't do. I'm not going to allow anybody to tell me. Like, I believe that people, and I had this conversation. I was on live last night. I believe that people can can come back from death. I believe that. I believe that somebody can be flatlined and through faith, they can come back from death. I believe that. Mm-hmm. I believe in the impossible. I'm sitting here as a person that's been shot 8 times. I've been on my deathbed twice. So I believe in miracles. I believe in the impossible. So but when you have a cap on your mind, a lid on your mind, then you cap yourself out. And and I don't want to cap myself out. When I die, just like I just told you, when I die, I want to die empty. And I don't want to get to the gate and he say, DeMont, I sent you down there to change 100,000 families and you only did 1,000. Why? Oh, I was scared. Or I ran out of money. Or I didn't have a team. Or nobody believed in me. Or I didn't have the resources. Or I decided to do something else. I wasn't dealing with people no more. Because I could just flip houses and be fine. I made money. I made my first $1 million flipping houses. I could flip houses, not have to deal with nobody, not have to do no podcast, not have to come into no office and be fine. But that's not my call. Right. That's not my purpose.
If you can, man, you mentioned it. You talk about walking on water. So, bro, if you can, man, tell me how important it is to you with your faith and your belief to where you're at right now.
How important my faith is?
Your faith and your belief.
My faith and my belief is everything, is who I am. Like I don't feel like I would have anything without my faith and belief. I do not feel like I would have any level of success without my faith or belief. I do not feel like that I would be able to coach or mentor or guide or lead anybody without my faith and belief. I don't believe that.
Thank you.
So, and you don't have to believe what I believe, and you don't have to have the faith that I have. But if you come into my space, I'm going to talk about who I believe got me here, who I know got me here.
All right. So as we get ready to close out a little bit, I wanted to talk about your transformation. So like we said, like you've been shot, been on your deathbed, experienced some things with your dad. You been bankrupt twice. You had some people backstab you, some people done some things to you and stuff like that, right? So what I wanted to talk about is if you could share with me if you bottled some of those things in or not, or just at what particular point in your life where you decided that I'm going to change my life and this is the direction I'm going to go with my life.
I think that rock bottom. Remember I told you I lost my first $1 million at 27. That was not my rock bottom. Losing is not my rock bottom.
Okay.
My rock bottom was when I got in trouble and I was sitting inside that prison cell and had a conversation with God. And that conversation was what added clarity to my life, because before then I didn't have any hope. I didn't have a vision. I didn't have a dream. I didn't have any motivation. I didn't have anything, because I didn't feel like God loved me. I didn't feel like God loved me. I didn't feel like God loved me. And until I had that conversation with him in that prison cell, I realized that I didn't love myself.
Wow.
So I didn't love myself. So when it wasn't that God didn't love me, because he protected me, he provided for me, he gave me people, he gave me resources, he gave me all those things. So it was that I didn't love myself. And when I had that epiphany, that's what opened the door for me to forgive my father, to forgive what I felt like my mother could have done or shouldn't have done, but she did the best that she could do, and she would give me anything. I was able to forgive other people that had wronged me, and that's what the principle that I live on, So how can we read the Bible that says something, but yet we don't want to apply it in our situation? We just want to apply it when it's on our side, So those are the things. So forgiveness is one of the key things that I had to do, which then through therapy helped me to be and understand who I was. And until you love yourself, you can't love other people. Until you love yourself, you can't talk about building wealth or building all these different things and helping people. If you ask most people what their purpose is, they're going to say helping people. But are you helping yourself? Because we pass down through generations hurt and pain, so I didn't want to do that. So I had to face my hurt head on. So that's one of the things that I decided to do.
Man, that's so powerful, man. The power of forgiveness is so key and important when that it's from within. It's not even for the other person, man. So I love the fact that you took that accountability and owned that and living your life now on purpose. If you can, if you could talk about how did you take those lessons that you did learn from those experiences, and how are you like empowering people now through your personal life and through your business? How are you empowering people to help people now?
I just want when people look at me, I want them or because you never know who you impact, you never know who's watching you. I've had people to DM me even recently and say, "Hey, I saw you on live, or I saw you at a live event, and you really motivated me. Like I was ready to go blow my brains out. I was
Wow.
ready to kill myself. But I heard you tell your story, and you talked about how you were suicidal. You talked about how you lost your father. You talked about how you bounced back with 3 felonies and made multiple millions, and that motivated me to believe that I could do it too. You talked about that you wasn't loved, and I've never felt loved. I have men and women DM me all the time, and I end up on Messenger praying with them or talking to them. So I have that happen all the time. I have people walk up to the mall, into the airport and say, "Hey, I see you on social media, and you motivate me, or you Coach DeMont." So I've had that happen before, So you never know who's watching you, but I hope that when people see me, they see hope, and that's the only thing that has pushed me through is hope. I had to hope in something better. I had to hope that one day I'll be able to build a legacy. Like I don't want to just exist. I want to be like the Rockefellers or the Forbes or the Carnegies or the Vanderhaals or the Trumps. I want my name to be known in 7, 8, 9, 10 generations. But again, that's because of the structure and which we teach at the 1% Club. And speaking before, I know this is your show, but you joined the 1% Club. And I remember a live that we had, and you were a part of another community, and you paid a substantial amount of money for a trust. And then you joined the 1% Club, and you said, "Hey, I joined the 1% Club, and you guys gave me more value because you taught me more about the trust." And that really resonated in me. I told you, we working to be number one in this space. So it resonated with me because it showed me that it's not what you pay, it's what you get, right?
Right.
It's what you get. So it's not the amount of money that you pay to get something, because if you don't never get it, it don't matter how you can pay $100,000 for a trust and never use it.
Right.
So that I'm gonna tell you, that's what has really motivated me to make the 1% Club the best customer experience ever on this planet. And I know we got to work hard to do it, but that testimony that you gave me really helped me.
Yeah, man. I think having a trust is so empowering, bro. So I said that to you because I grew up in a household that conversation was not even discussed, right? I never learned anything about credit until I got into to the military. Until I even got out of the military, I started learning about credit, and then it was not until I got into my 30s that I started hearing the conversation of a trust. I think sometimes people hear the word trust fund babies and things like that, and it would be frowned on in certain types of communities. But there's actually nothing wrong with that, as you said. Trust is for generations, you know what I mean? And that's something that I love that you are empowering and teaching in the communities too as well. And setting that structure and having that in place through your company, I think is phenomenal.
Thank you, man.
So as we get ready to wrap up here, man, I want you to just share with us, to all of our listeners, what are some of the tips, lessons that you could share from you could share you lay it all out here, man, from your business experiences, from your personal experiences. What are some key takeaways that you want from our listeners to understand about Coach DeMont and some things that they could live by?
Well, I think that one thing I would want you to take away is that if when we started this conversation, I said I had to forgive. I had to forgive people that hurt me. I had to forgive my father. And forgiving my father opened the door up. It opened the door up for the Bowles brothers that have taught me real estate. It opened the door for my billionaire mentor. Opened the door for Steve Nelson, who's my millionaire mentor. Opened the door for me to even be in partnership with 2 other men. Right. So
Right.
it opened me up because now the pain that I had and the hurt that I had is gone. Right. It doesn't, I'm not gonna say it never existed, but it doesn't affect me now. So now I'm able to move in alignment with where I want to be. So I'm praying that if you watch this, if you have some issues, it's called this show is called Adversity Podcast. If you had some adversity, which we all have, that you're able to bounce back from it. And now I'm able to relate to people. When people say, I met a guy, he said, I got 3 felonies. I can't get a job. I can't start a business. I said, that's a lie. I've never had a job and I have 3 felonies and I made many, many millions. And I've sat at tables with kings and queens and billionaires and millionaires. And I've sat at tables with princes. All right. So I've been blessed. And I feel like if God could bless me on that level, he could bless anybody. But you gotta show up. You gotta be. This is the key point I want to say. This is what my billionaire mentor told me. Make yourself the expert sitting at any table. Become an expert in the area that you're in. If that's trucking, if that's doing hair, if that's doing nails, if that's my mother used to tell me, if you clean streets, you just need to be the best street cleaner in the world, right? So whatever it is you do, make yourself an expert to where somebody needs you. Right now, I deem myself as an expert in family trust. And I have not yet, other than people that I just talked to my millionaire friend earlier, and she said, oh, I have a trust, but I need you to sit down with me and talk to me about my trust because there's some things that I don't trust about it. And she said, I thought that you only had to have money to get have a trust. And I said, no, you don't have to have money. It's for you to put it in. So in closing, every family should have a family trust. Let's say that. If you want to change the narrative of your family, if you want to be debt free, if you want to say, hey, I'm tired of living check to check, or I have a business and I'm tired of paying the IRS so much taxes, or every time somebody die in my family, we got to go to online to ask people for money and nobody has insurance and nothing like that because we don't have a structure, then every family needs a family trust. So that means that everybody that watches this show, Mike, needs to join the 1% Club.
Man, thank you for sharing that with your life lessons, bro. As we get ready to wrap up and get out of here, Coach DeMont, I want you to tell people how they could work with you, how they could contact you, how they could get their own trust. Floor is yours.
So to be a part of the 1% Club, all you have to do is DM me, Coach DeMont, COACH, DeMont, DAMONT. That's on Instagram, or email us. My email is DeMont at club, CLUB, 1%.com, club1%.com. Also, if you go to my link in my bio, you can get the link to a book that we give you. It's called My Family is Debt Free, and that will put you into getting information about the community.
Man, it's been an absolute pleasure for you to come and be transparent, be vulnerable, but definitely showed us how you are resilient in your mindset, getting through all of the obstacles that you've been through in your life, man. I know that this is going to be truly impactful to our listeners, as I know somebody's out there either dealt with some issues with their father. Some guys may have been incarcerated. Some guys may have had some struggles in their business. And absolutely, I think after this podcast, people will absolutely learn that you can attain a trust and live through a trust and have money and things in your life for generations to come. So with that being said, man, I just want to tell you thank you, bro, for being here. It's truly been an absolute pleasure to have this conversation with you, man.
And I want to say thank you for having me. My grandma used to tell me people don't have to be nice. So thank you for being nice and allowing me on your platform. That means a lot.
Thank you so much, brother, man. Until next time, guys, I'm Michael Allison. This is Coach DeMont. We love you guys. Peace.
Can't complain at all. Couple dollars in my pocket, no income and go. Been working on my body, getting healthier. Thank God for clarity.